Amazing. Have you seen the entire series is my question. No? Oh, good. Isn't it fun? It's really good. I don't work for Peacock, and I can tell you this. I think it's really good. My name is Stacey Wilson Hunt, and I'm honored to bring out Dakota Fanning. Please welcome Dakota Fanning. Welcome, Dakota. And Jake Lacy. There he is. Congratulations. We were just talking backstage that this show has really blown up. And it feels like the show that everybody's telling their friends to watch, which is fun. Better than the opposite reaction, right? Don't don't watch this show.
Don't bother watching. Yeah. Have you seen it? It's terrible. Don't watch it.
That is the opposite of the reaction we hope for. So before we talk about the show, and because this is a room filled with actors and you're both extremely experienced, I'd like for each of you to share your first ever performance. Was this in school? Was this in front of the camera? Was this on your parents' fireplace? Entertaining relatives? Tell me about the first time you experienced a performance and how did it feel? And I'm going to start with you because you're closest.
Me. I grew up in central Vermont, and at the time there was funding for like arts programs in public schools, which has waned.
I was about to say the good old days of funding for arts. Yes.
And so we would do like plays in kindergarten and first grade, and then when you were in third grade you could start doing after school plays. So I think, you know, it would have been kindergarten or something, but we were required to do it. And then third grade, I think I was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And
the classics.
Yeah. And I wanted to be Willy Wonka, and my friend Nate Christiana got Willy Wonka, and I was like, robbed.
Damn,
you know, like,
Nate Christiana.
Yeah.
He's a perfect
lovely
villain
guy.
name too, by the way.
Right.
Christiana.
But at 9 was still like yeah, that was my
It's good training for Hollywood when your peers are getting roles that you want, right?
Everybody's got their own path. Be cool. It's fine. You'll get your Wonka when you're supposed to get your Wonka. It's all right. It's all right.
You've gotten your Wonka. I like that.
Yeah.
And how about you, Dakota? Obviously, you've been in our lives for a long time, but I don't know exactly when your first performance was.
Well, I mean, my first performance technically would have been at a summer drama camp in Atlanta. I was in a stage production, just performed for the parents, of The Rainbow Fish, the book.
Sold out show.
Yeah. And
how old were you at this point?
I would have been 4.5, 5-ish. And then I suppose my first film performance was I Am Sam.
I am. She kind of went from camp to starring alongside Sean Penn. It's fine. It's a totally normal transition. Wonderful stories. Thank you for sharing. So Jake, congratulations again on your performance of Peter. I'm curious what your first impressions were of Peter when you read the script. And did you have any reservations about how you would tackle this particular character?
I had only seen the script from maybe the first or second episode. So I don't know, am I allowed? I mean,
it's been out. It's okay.
I can just spoil it for
you can spoil. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just say. Okay. I won't. Just say. Sorry. I've been taken over by the devil. So that's the big reveal. So I'd only seen the first scripts, but I knew Sarah was involved. I think Dakota was on board. Like, I'd worked with Minky, who directed the first 4. I'd worked with Kate, who'd done the back 4. Like, I was in.
It was a good pedigree of talent.
Oh man, it was like, whatever the rest holds, this is enough to jump at the opportunity. And then so I got to Melbourne, and really as much as I knew was like, we're married and our boy is missing, and there's, you know, we try to find the boy and the rest is kind of unfolds. And then Minky was like, do you know what happens? And I was like, not really. She was like, well, come sit down. And so then she laid out, you know, I won't ruin anything, but she laid out the extent to which my character's involved in these past things from the family, and then also potentially in the disappearance of our son.
And of course, this is based on the novel by Andrea Mara.
That's right.
So of course, this story had been out in the ether for a couple of years.
And so, I guess my first thoughts were kind of limited to a lack of knowledge where I was like, this will be cool. And then upon learning really like what I was going to get myself into, I was thrilled because I don't know, as an actor, you just want more. It's like there's more to do and more layers and more secrets and more nuance and more complexity and all these things to dig into. And what was the other part? Oh, was I worried about tackling any of it?
Or just reservations about how to make him multidimensional?
Yeah. Well, a little bit, because it's it's like I can come up with an idea of how I want to do this thing, but if everybody else isn't on board with it, then it doesn't matter. It's just like me yelling into the void, and it requires the writer and the other actors and the director to be like, yes, that version is the version we want. It's like I could have said, I really think it's this, this, and this, and then people with more power than myself are like, just twirl the mustache, man. Like, it's really clear. Like,
We hired you for a reason, Jake.
This,
Right.
and you go, oh, it's not really what I want to do. So I felt like there was a way into it, and then was really fortunate to be supported by the rest of the production, in which they were like, yeah, for sure, explore that thing.
And honoring the IP along the way too, which is sort of obviously.
Yeah, I read the book along with it to just if there's any little pieces to grab along the way. But really the scripts, it's a lovely novel and a great book and people should read it. But like for the purposes of making our show, it's like that script is the foundational element. You're not like, chapter 6 actually, Andrea has them, that's useless.
Imagine there's not a lot of time for that. Yes, thank you for that. And Dakota, wonderful work from you as always. And Jenny's plight to balance her career and her husband and her child is incredibly relatable. And her exhaustion in managing this is very relatable. And these aren't new themes, but I wanted to know what felt fresh to you about how they're portrayed in this story. Because there's definitely, and again, not spoiling, there's some very funny moments with her and her husband when she discovers him in a car watching his phone when he should be doing some other things. It's a very funny scene.
Yes.
But I think there's a levity with which the writers have handled these themes. So tell me what you liked about that.
I think, what you first said, I felt like it was a relatable or could be a very relatable, realistic portrayal of, I think, what a lot of women feel that it is to try and not just be a mother, be a wife, be a friend, be a good mother, be a good wife, be a good friend, be a good parent at the school, be good at work. Like, it's not even just about fulfilling those roles. It's about like being exceptional in all of those roles. And so I think that is really what Jenny is dealing with, and like real time processing, if any of that is possible, and how it's possible, and sort of having to do that like mental legwork really on her own with not a lot of support from other people. So I was excited about the opportunity to do that, and also just seeing the friendship between Jenny and Marissa and how that evolves, and this is, if somebody thinks it's a spoiler, I'll say too bad for this one, but that it's their friendship is a genuine, authentic friendship, and it doesn't turn into them being pitted against one another and competitive and angry and judgmental, and they're really solid people for each other to lean on, obviously in a very chaotic time for Marissa and a chaotic time for Jenny in a completely different way. And so just seeing that version of a female friendship portrayed, it's so much more similar to how I experience it in my life.
And non-competing with each other.
And just not the non-competing, and not, it's obviously set up in the beginning where an audience would think that they're gonna hate Jenny, right? And some do. I think Peter doesn't really reconcile.
I thought you looked at me as Jake, that I had been like, I fucking hate that character so much. I just, right from the jump, I was like, dude, I'm good with Jenny. I like Jenny.
Some do hold her responsible to take away from their own responsibility, I think. But yeah, it's set up to think like, you know, you're gonna don't admit fault and don't say you're responsible and don't say you're sorry and you're gonna get sued, and it's like protect yourself. And I think it was really nice to play a very genuine, like heart forward character, and that's what who I found Jenny to be, regardless of if the Irvines turned around and sued her. She didn't care. She just felt so bad that she did have any responsibility, and I think it's a nice reminder. I found Jenny to be a nice reminder of, you know, that we're so quick to look for the worst case scenario or look for the negative outcome or to see the bad in someone. And I felt like her character and like Marissa and Jenny's relationship and just what Jenny represented to me was that there's still space to see the best in somebody and to see the positive outcome first, or, you know, hope for the best and all of those things. And so I thought that was, she was a very, like, sweet character to play. I found, you know, I mean, she's rare. Badass, but I also found her very, like, genuine and like a nice person in a true way.
It's true, she is. And Jake, Peter's physical presence on screen, his posture, his energy, all suggest someone who is loath to relinquish control in his life. What was required of you to feel physically prepared for this role? He's very fit, this guy. And we get to see him, and I'm not saying you're not. You're the picture of fitness.
I've put on weight for a role that I've not gotten yet, but when I get it, it will have been appropriate.
But I'm saying this guy's pretty aggro about fitness. We sort of discover that about him. But what do you think that says about his relationship with controlling situations?
Well, I guess control is not the goal. Control is the means to the goal. And for Peter professionally, that is to excel, to make as much money as he can, to rise at the firm he works at. But that requires like dedication and focus and control and you know, cutting of the proverbial fat to be like, I don't have time for excess. Like, that's not how you get ahead. And that mentality is one that he extends to the expectations on his siblings, on his wife, on himself, on the police, is to be like, do better. Like, it just stop being bad at this. And in his mind, that he has these goals, like in his mind, he sees the potential of each of these people, and the fact that they are not reaching that potential is due to some deficit of theirs, which is a lack of self-will or self-control or grit or stick-to-itiveness or whatever it is. And so, you know, some of this is in the script and some of it's my own sense of Peter in order to connect these pieces so that they all are of the same person, and you don't just go like, oh, we get these snapshots of separate characteristics and I guess they add up because we saw them all stitched together visually. But to try to go like, what kind of person would see themselves as like caring and compassionate and selfless, and yet also most of his generosity comes with strings attached and expectation, and if you don't reach the goal that he has for you, then you fucked up. And that is very different than actually like supporting and loving people and saying like, what's your vision for yourself and how can I guide you on that path or be in support of that? But to go like, you know what you should do is this, and here's the way to do it. And if you don't want that for yourself, I guess you're lazy or stupid. You know, like
Right.
There's a real aggression in that. And it applies to himself. So I feel like that's where the physicality maybe comes from.
No, it's perfectly reflected in that. And Dakota, you talked about Jenny's relationship with Sarah's character. And by the way, Sarah, how wonderful is she in this part?
Best.
She's
The best.
so great to see her again, too. We have missed her. Her relationship with Marissa is not only part of the core narrative, but for me, it becomes this really interesting foil to what marriage means and sort of the ephemeral nature of these romantic relationships, the marriages, and the enduring nature of female bonding. How do you see this series as sort of reflecting on the power of these female friendships sort of as their relationships are sort of crumbling in the background?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just that. Like, you know, I mean, I think it's really when you find a friend who understands you and your situation and can relate to it or just see it. I think that's really a powerful thing, and I think that, you know, Sarah's character and mine obviously meet in, you know, I mean, they meet before, in the scene in the bathroom is before the turmoil, obviously, but, you know, their bond grows in the most trying times that either one of them have gone through up until this point. You'll see why for Jenny later on as things with her husband and with her marriage, and it's probably the worst thing that's happened to her up until that point in her life. And obviously Sarah's character is going through the worst time in her life. And a bond forms. And yeah, I mean, I think when you have a true friend, you can really form a friendship that it will last a lifetime. And I think that those two, the intention for those two characters is that they'll be, you know, friends forever, despite any other comings and goings in their lives.
And they can share secrets.
Can share secrets.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the real tenet of a true
That
friend.
is true.
Right?
That is true.
And Jake, when I was watching the show, I was so kind of amused and having a blast thinking about the idea that you and Sarah have starred in, at least for me, two of the most iconic series, Succession and The White Lotus, shows that have really started this eat the rich theme in television, which is sometimes executed well, sometimes not. But I think it's very interestingly explored here. What do you think All Her Fault has to say about wealth and privilege and how we are still being asked to humanize these people despite their having such lavish belongings, lavish lifestyle, and so much wealth that they worked for, by the way? We know that these are hardworking people, but there's still an element of skewering of the lifestyle. So tell me how you think the show treats those themes.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was really necessary, to be honest. Like it doesn't.
You mean their wealth and their status?
Yeah, like I think it's like Shakespeare makes drama of the royals and fools of the poor. Like that's the joke. That's the drama is like surrounded in the stakes of the wealth and the power, and so then I think through 400 years of storytelling, we've gotten used to, like, unless it's Richie Rich or King Ralph or something like that, that like wealth denotes high stakes, and
like more to lose, essentially.
yeah, and the only way that it really plays in here, I suppose, is that there's an assumed, I think from a reader or a viewer, an assumption that those characters of wealth have an expectation of access or of things being done their way or of getting their way or of getting what they want or at the rate at which they want it done, or that to have like your child taken when you have everything, when you don't need to worry about access to food or healthcare or shelter or, you know, a job. It's easy for the public to judge those people and say like, well, they had everything and now
Well,
this
and
is
we
gone.
see that too, and they're worried about the
Yes.
perception of being people of means
That's
as
right.
they fight for
It's like
answers.
our wedding is like put on social
Right.
media, and this idea that, you know, they deal in wealth, and so potentially there's you know, a ransom coming or a request for ransom coming, that adds in plot points, I suppose, but I don't think it I don't know if anything has skewered wealth in the way that Succession has. Like that's amazing.
It's another level, for sure.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Major tragedy, major Shakespearean tragedy
Yes.
themes
And-
going on in
and
that show.
White Lotus was like, what happens when money gets involved? That
Right.
it corrupts all things at every level.
Right,
employer, employee.
right. When they don't get the
Husband,
room they asked for.
If they don't get the room they asked for, but
pineapple
paid an
suite.
exorbitant amount for, and we're deserving of receiving.
We're all still
yeah.
fighting for your character to get the room that he deserved, despite all of his attempts.
I've not heard back.
Yes, I know. It's been a long process.
Years.
And in closing, Dakota, I would love for you to share what you feel proudest of in having told this story and the work that you've done. This is kind of a different project for you in the sense that you're part of an ensemble. It's kind of a peak TV, streaming all at once, buzzy juggernaut sort of vibe for the show that I think is kind of unique for you as a performer. What are you proudest of with the show?
I'm just happy to be a part of it. Honestly, you know, I was excited to the only thing I knew about it similar to Jake was that Sarah was going to be in it, and I was a big fan of hers and knew that our characters would have scenes together, and so I was like,
You said that's good for me.
that's enough. So I was just excited to be a part of it, and I got to be a part of such a great ensemble. And I didn't know anyone before this, hadn't worked with anyone before, so it was a totally new group of people and actors, and you know, that's still like the best part of doing anything, is getting to have those friendships and get to meet people and work with them and get to know them. Still my favorite part.
Just like being at summer camp when you were 4.5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I'm just excited to be a part of it. It never gets old to be out in the world and someone to come up to you and talk about something that they love that you're doing. And when it is a show and all the episodes released at one time, and even different people in my life personally, everyone's at different points, you know, most have finished it, I think.
Are you getting a lot of texts from family and friends?
Like beyond,
Right.
like so many, and so that's fun, and fun to hear people's theories of what's going on and hear all the really wrong ones. And, you know,
You're like, can you please just finish the show
all
and then we'll talk?
all the dumb ones. I'm like, no.
It's aliens, right? It's aliens.
Like, it's-
He's abducted by aliens.
I know. I'm like,
Come on.
I'm like, that definitely is not what's about.
The boy is AI. The boy's been AI the whole time.
The whole
But
thing is
when I say dumb ones, I don't mean from fans. I mean from like my friends or my family, like, people that I know. I'm like,
That's
really?
good that they're so engaged.
But they're so engaged that their minds are twisting and turning and making things, you know, appear out of thin air. It seems like plot wise, but I still love just being a part of something that is connecting with people. Is super fun.
Yeah, it's kind of the whole point of the job.
Yeah,
hopefully.
absolutely.
Well, congratulations to both of you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here.
Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
it's always fun to see what you're doing. We're big fans. So thank
Thank you so much.